Technology's wonderful when it works.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We have quite a few of you on here this morning, and I think we've got a couple of new faces to you. Probably the biggest one on here, if you haven't met him yet, is Pat Killeen with Equity Group Insurance, and he will be a good part of our presentation today. So you'll be hearing a lot from him. And as it being Toolbox Wednesday, this Wednesday morning class is not just for business school. It's open to everybody. And so we have several other people on here, staff members and other agents. I see Dave Scriven on there, a legend in our industry. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Dave,
the invite. Hey, is this a credit hour?
It is not. No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm desperate for credit hours, so I may have to, after that nice statement you made, say adios. I'm so sorry.
That is right. Who is your title company of choice?
I used, I don't want to use anything. What's your title company?
Well, I know First American has quite a bit that you can do online. Tycor has some that you can do online as well. And there's one other that I can't think of off the top of my head. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of opportunity out there for credit hours in case it helps you.
Right, I'm getting close. I only have a couple more left for the rest of this month, so I'm mostly retired now. So thank you, though, for caring. Appreciate it.
No worries, no worries. Try to help where we can.
I'm gonna say adios and thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
All righty. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here. Once I get my slideshow started, we're going to be popping in and out of our presentation today. Can you guys see that? No, you probably can't yet. Hold on. There we go. Technology is wonderful when you're using it right. There we go. All righty. So today we're going to start off with, and really for the entire week here for Business School, we're talking about really our partners and teams. And my first question to everybody on here today, and I really want today to be, and really throughout the rest of the business school, as much discussion as we can. So unless you're having a party behind you, feel free to unmute so that you can just talk freely. We're happy to have that. What I really want to first start is talking about the word team. You know, we hear that a lot in our industry, right? What does the word team mean to you guys? And feel free to just unmute yourself and chat.
The group that's going to help me get my goal accomplished.
A group that's going to get you
that is accomplishing a goal like together.
I love that, Valicia. Can you write that down, please? I want to steal that from you. That was awesome.
I don't even know what I just said. So
you said it was a group that helps you attain your goals. Really, is what I heard. Anybody else want to give it a stab? Even though I just told Valicia kudos, there is more. Anybody? Before I start picking on you.
Just a group of people that don't compete with each other as far as the goal side of things, and are willing to work with one another to produce an effective product.
That makes sense. Anybody else?
A diverse set of skills brought together for a common goal.
Nice job, Caitlin. Good job. I like that too. Could you write that one down? Please send those to me today.
Sure.
No, that's awesome.
I think it is a group that has your back and will help you out when you need it.
All right. I'm liking this. Anybody else? Okay. No, I think that's great. You guys all really hit it on the head. And to be honest with you, normally when I do this, I hear buyer's agents, listing agents, transaction coordinators, that type of thing. And all of you guys, all of you guys really hit this on the head. It's the team around you that really is there to help you do your business, attain your goals, make it happen. And that's awesome. So I'm glad that you guys are already kind of on that mindset. So that's great. If you look it up in the dictionary here, it's everything from 2 or more people working together. I love the last one, 2 or more animals, especially horses. That's always fun. But really, again, it comes down to having those around you to help you. So that's awesome. That's really good. Now, here's the next question, and I'm not going to show the slide yet because it has all the answers on it. But you guys start naming people that are on your team today, because all of you do have a team, whether you realize it or not. You have a team. Who would be part of that team? And you don't need to name names, just name jobs.
Oh, I named your name. Kyle,
I would say
number 1 on my team.
What was that,
I
Felicia?
would
I'm
say
sorry.
everyone in this room.
Everyone in this
Like
room.
everyone
Very
on here.
true. My managing broker, let me put it that way, is someone I go to all the time.
Managing broker. And the people in this room, Whitney, honestly, that's a good one that I did not even have written down before. So really it's your network, right?
Yeah, your network.
That's awesome. Anybody else want to name part of your team?
Well, right now I haven't quite started out yet, but I have gotten a couple friends to be actively trying to help me. So friends and family can work on your team as well.
Friends and family, yep. They're good for referrals. Anybody else? Before I
And
start picking
babysitting.
us? What's that?
I said they're good for referrals and babysitting.
There we go. And Rochelle, while you're unmuted, who is part of your team? Name somebody or something.
My partners, like from Equity Mortgage Group, or I don't know if this was already mentioned. I had to walk away for a second, but like Pat for insurance, or Todd for, and Anthony, like your lenders.
All right. Awesome.
And I have a home inspector that I love to use.
Home inspector. There we go. So again, insurance, which we'll be highlighting today, lenders, home inspector. That's one I honestly forgot when I made my list. Anybody else?
Your title reps.
Title reps, yep. They are the unsung heroes. Anybody else?
Your social media guru.
Your social media guru. Yes. Anybody else? All right, let me show you what I have on here so far. And feel free to add. So you've got your lender, equity group or equity mortgage group, for instance. Title and escrow was mentioned. We have insurance mentioned, and we're going to go a little bit more into detail on that today. Your branch staff, you guys mentioned your managing broker, which is awesome. But your branch staff is a huge part of your team. So make sure that and I put them above the principal broker because they are better than your managing brokers. I hate to say it. The home warranty company, which you'll be meeting Ed and Tyler tomorrow from American Home Shield. A real estate attorney. That should be somebody you have a referral for. And Jeff Davis, who is our company attorney on retainer, is somebody who can help most of your clients at this point. But I'd certainly have a real estate attorney in your team. CPA and accountants. We've talked about this one a couple of times throughout business school. Having somebody there on the dollars end is good. Your photographers, your stagers, those help you with listings. Again, you guys mentioned your coworkers or other agents and that network. You mentioned a home inspector. That's a really, really good one. And make sure that you have going in. Can anybody, friends and family was the other one. Can anybody think of anybody else on your team or that people you should be thinking about?
A general contractor or go-to handyman.
General contractor, handyman, yep. And I will...
A landscaper to help with curb appeal.
Yep, landscaper. There we go. Anybody else? Okay. And if you don't have your own, especially when it comes to things like handyman, landscaper, photographer, stagers, that type of thing, you could certainly ask around your office. You could also go to My Equity and go into the vendors section and do a search. I found a lot of good referrals that way. I will tell you that one of the hardest ones to find is a handyman, mainly for the fact that a lot of them, when they do get really good, they get busy. And then when you need them, sometimes they're not always there. So have 2 or 3 of those in your pocket. I think that's a good thing to do. So that's awesome. This is great. So make sure you guys understand that all of these people are part of your team. And my recommendation for you would be to start listing them out as of today. Like, take this list that we're going through and just start writing who is your team. So you can have that in front of you at all times. I'd even have it in your phone so you always have access to it. And just make sure that these people are people that you're talking to regularly. And then really start building on these relationships, right? One-on-one meetings, which you can do, you know, if you're comfortable in meeting somebody for coffee or lunch, that can happen. If not, you can do it via Zoom or over the phone, and that's fine. Find out how they can help you in your business, you know, and don't be afraid to ask. It sounds a little, I guess, usury. I don't know what the right term is. But, you know, we really need to leverage other people that are on our team to help us with our business. So you guys can focus on the right things, which is prospecting and getting more business. And then consistent messaging to this team is good, whether it be calls, emails, notes, thank you cards go a long way, by the way. Anytime that you've connected with somebody, lender or whatever, send them a thank you card. It makes a big difference and they'll remember you. I think that's a good thing. Refer them when possible. So whenever you can use part of your team, especially when it comes to handyman and people in other worlds that deal with ours. And at the end of the day, just make them a part of your ecosphere. It is your team. And, you know, Pat and I have talked about this with business school before. Having this team behind you and being confident about your team will totally help that age-old question, especially for all of you that are new or newer. It helps with that age-old question when you get asked, how many transactions have you done? Or, you know, how long have you been in the business, right? You could very quickly kind of get the focus off of that to saying very quickly, you know what, I've been in the business for 6 months. I have this amazing team that's behind me, and we do a great job to help you sell, help you buy, whatever it is they're doing, right? And if you can do that confidently and truly do have that team behind you, then you're all good. Does that make sense? Okay. Does anybody have any questions about people that may or may not be on your team?
Good apple. I don't have a question, but I do have a suggestion, if
Go
that's
for it.
okay. When I first started, one way I started getting names, because I didn't know very many lenders or contractors, things like that, is I just did a post on my personal Facebook page that said, hey, as many of you may know, I just became a real estate agent. I'm looking to connect with anybody that provides a business or service that would connect with me. So if you're a lender, a contractor, electrician, and then it was just another way to like remind my sphere that I was an agent, but it was another way to reconnect with some of the people in my sphere. Sorry, kindergarten's going on next to me.
That's right.
One second. That it was another way to connect with my sphere, because there's people in my own network that I didn't realize were plumbers or, you know, things like that. So it was a nice way to reconnect with them too. So just if you're brand new and you're getting started, it's just another way to put the word out that you're an agent, and then also like build a stronger relationship with somebody you already kind of have a connection with.
Great idea. I like that. Yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. This is part of that building process, right? Is reaching out. I know, and I've talked to a lot of agents about this. When I first started in the business, I knew very few people here in Portland. Most of the people I knew were in other states, not even this area. And when I sent my intro letter out, it was more of touching base with people maybe for referrals down the road. And as I started making phone calls, I learned that some family that I hadn't talked to in years in different states knew people that were lawyers and knew people that were this and that and the other. And it just helped create my database and made it stronger, let alone my team. So I do recommend working on this, and it's something for you guys to discuss with your managing brokers in the next week as well. Just making sure you've got your team nailed down. So if you do have questions, you know who to go to. So any other thoughts? Okay. Well, with that, we have, speaking of your team, we have Pat Killeen with Equity Group Insurance with us today. And he's going to be doing an overview of what he can offer you as being part of your team. And I will tell you from my own experience, He's been amazing and very instrumental helping several agents just in my office alone with not only transactional issues and whatnot, but also helping them with their own insurance, whether it be their cars, their homes, their business, that type of thing. And he'll go through some of that. And then more recently, Pat was huge, 3 or 4 weeks ago when we started having the fires. If you guys didn't see the video, he is now a star. If you didn't see the video that we created, so he could just be able to communicate to everybody that things are okay, that he can help you get through it. And that's another reason to have him on your team, right? To be able to have a go-to in situations like that. So with that said, I will turn it over to Pat Killeen. Pat, I'll let you introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Pat Killeen with Equity Group Insurance. I work out of the Lake Oswego RE/MAX office, and I'm just available to every office of RE/MAX Equity Group. So I'm a phone call away, I'm an email away, what have you, in terms of questions, help, conversation, what have you. But hey, Kyle, back to your story, just for a quick second, since we like stories, right? Tell me, and I don't know this about you, but this is, what state did you move from when you didn't know anybody when you first moved here to Oregon?
I came from the San Francisco Bay Area for 10 years before here, but all up and down the West Coast and originally from Colorado.
Okay, that's great. So you've been here for approximately how long then?
13 and a half years.
And
I'm a native now.
So when you consider that 13 and a half years, if you were to put a number on it, and I'm not asking you for an exact number, but how many people have you built a team with in that time frame, let's say, or maybe just the time that you started with RE/MAX?
As far as with my own team, I'd honestly, now that you guys have told me about 4 or 5 more people that really are on my team that I wasn't thinking about, probably about 15 or 20.
Okay. Yeah. So can you imagine having 80 plus people on your team? Could you?
I think that'd be awesome.
I'll give you an example. In terms of every person's goals in real estate, obviously it's to sell as much real estate as possible. And to do that, you have to have a team. In 2018, there was a football coach, a college football coach named Dabo Sweeney. Have you heard of him?
I have.
He was a coach for the Clemson Tigers, and he won the NCAA National Football Championship. And just that alone intrigued me. In 2018, I looked him up. And one thing I thought was, wow, he just, now he's famous, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, yeah, he probably makes a lot of money. And I just looked up this morning that he's the highest paid college football coach in the nation now. But one thing I didn't, in 2018, I looked him up. I was thinking, how many assistant coaches, how many people does he have around him to have come together as a team, as a coach, to win a championship? And I looked, and you can look too, if you're curious, he had over 80 people on his team to help win a national championship. And now he's the highest paid coach in college football. So I think having people, multiple people, and it's, the idea of building a relationship to build your team is paramount. I mean, you can meet with people, you can call people, you can build relationships with people naturally. I saw a guy in our parking lot today. He was an ex-Lake Oswego basketball player. And I stopped, I rolled down my window. I saw him coming out of Starbucks, and I gave him a fist pump. His name's Randy Schiff. I said, hey, Randy, are you still working at that credit union? He goes, no, I work for, I won't mention it, another mortgage company. But it was an opportunity for me to think to myself, well, I could take that guy out to lunch sometime soon. And see how he's doing, see if he's still shooting baskets, or more importantly, what's he doing to build his business. So I think building relationships, building a team, it's just getting to know people. And it's really as basic as that, or catching up with people, like in that case, in the parking lot this morning that I had. So a lot of times when we help people with insurance, we have to ask, okay, what's your occupation? And I realize that sometimes I forget to ask that question. And I shouldn't, because that question about what you do is really, really important, because then you can identify with that person who you're talking to and who you're trying to build a relationship to not necessarily put on your team, but to become familiar with that person and build your network as real estate agents. And anyway, I'd like to just say that there's a couple people I recognized on this Zoom call today that I would like to just ask a question of. Is that okay, Kyle?
Go for it.
Okay, so how many have I helped that's here today with their insurance needs? And would you speak up and kind of share what happened?
You've helped me and my mom get insurance for a couple that just recently bought a home in Canby.
Okay.
Right before the fires, actually.
Oh, that's good. And
First of all, is their house okay, Sean?
Sean,
yeah, their house is perfectly fine. We closed on time, and I actually had to go out there and get four-corner photos of the house just to make sure. The lender made me go out there and make sure that the house was okay.
Good.
Hey, Sean, I'm not asking you to talk about me, but I'm asking, how did that the insurance piece work to help you and your mom, let's say?
It helped us. It helped relieve our clients have to, I guess, really do a bunch of homework on go out and finding one. We had one in our back pocket already, and you were extremely helpful and informative from the get-go, very prompt, and our clients really liked that, and they liked that you were in-house with us, and it was very, very easy to work with Equity Group Insurance, I'd say. I mean, it was just very fast, very prompt, and very easy.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate that referral. Anybody else?
I've had a few clients work with you, including my mom, and you saved her lots of money. So I will say feedback from my other clients too, that's also just helped build rapport because I recommended you. So it makes me look good when you do an awesome job. Is that you were able to get them better insurance at a lower price too. So it wasn't like that, like not as great insurance and it was less, but it was also better insurance at a lesser price.
And how does that help your transaction, would you say?
Well, kind of like what Sean said, it just alleviates stress levels for your client. And then also it makes me look more of an expert too, to be associated with other experts and to have people in the know. And then it was nice too, because one of the houses that Pat helped with was a beach house. So obviously that's a totally different kind of set of insurance and questions that I wasn't 100% ready to answer, but it was nice to be able to partner with him and get a lot of the answers to their questions. So it helped me look like I actually knew a lot more than what I did before I called him.
That's great. Anybody else? Mandy, are you on here? Is Mandy from the Gresham office on
I'm right here.
There you are. Hey, I know that we didn't actually, well, we did help you. So could you share and this is what we do too, and I want you to hear what Mandy has to say in terms of how did we help you, even though we didn't do the insurance for you. How did we help you?
Pat, honestly, I have no idea. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My husband talked with you, and I'm not even sure what happened with all of that.
So what happened is we helped you do a quote for home and auto, and it helped you line up what you had in your existing scenario. And so a lot of times you can use us for just comparison purposes. And it's really important to get a second opinion. And may I say that if you go in for any dental work, which I have recently, you can get a quote for a crown or what have you, and then take that quote that you got and take it to someone else and see what they can do in comparison to it. So building a team, back to building a team. The home insurance quotes that we do for new buyers are really, really paramount in terms of our assisting agents, existing agents within our RE/MAX organization, and also the new agents that come on board. So the question is, you might be asking yourself, well, how can Equity Group Insurance assist you in your transactions? Well, doing a home insurance quote for your buyer, and when we do that quote, what happens is that we're running a clue report on that particular property. And what a clue report is, it's a 5-year past history report on if there's ever been claims on that house that your new buyer is purchasing. So in terms of a clue report, it might show up that there's been, $10,000 worth of water damage in the last 5 years. It might show up there if I'm doing a quote. It might show up that we've had past fire damage within the last 5 years. So all of that is important for you, and it can protect you in the long run to know, to having full disclosure as you take your buyer through the transaction and knowing what is any deficiencies, let's say, in that house that they really want to buy. So we do clue reports on every home insurance quote for your buyers. Every time we do a quote, there's a clue report initiated. So there's a value there in terms of protecting your buyer as they go to purchase that home when we do home insurance quotes, and we issue clue reports in the background or backdrop of those quotes. So you might ask, well, tell me what the clue report is. It's basically a claims report on any activity of the existing homeowner having any deficiencies in that house, whether fire or someone who is, sometimes we see break-ins under the clue report, like someone's broken into the house. In the last 5 years, we see claims for that once in a while. We see claims for, like I said earlier, fire and water damages. So if you're showing a new buyer a home, it's paramount to obviously look at the condition of the home, and if you notice anything that's abnormal, we might say, is that might you should have a red flag that goes up and say, well, let's take a look at this, and have my buyer call or email me, and we can do a quote for that home, and then we can determine if there's been any damage or break-ins, let's say, of that property that you might be showing them, just so there's full disclosure. Kyle, do you want to talk about that part of it in terms of liability and all that stuff, in terms of the transaction and protecting your buyers? You want to maybe mention something about that?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly mentioned a couple different things. I know probably the one that hits my mind the most was having a situation several years ago where, and this was in my office, it wasn't my transaction, where the home inspector had seen some signs of maybe a past fire up in the rafters, really, and yet the seller said that they didn't know anything, and they actually hadn't lived in the house that long themselves. But when the clue report was done, it showed that there was a fire in there, and it just makes, it's one of those things where it just makes your buyer have as much knowledge as they can about the home and about what it went through, because there are going to be some times that maybe that seller didn't know. And between you and me, I hate to say it, there are some sellers, and we're actually doing a class on this in a couple of weeks with Jeff Davis on disclosures. There are some sellers that just mark unknown for everything because they believe that they can, or sadly some attorneys have told them to do that. So, these are the types of things that you can do to help your clients uncover more about the house so they can make the best informed decision as possible, which comes back to your responsibility and liability working for your client, doing the best that you can and getting them that information. So that's kind of my thought on that.
Yeah.
I have a question. It's Whitney. I guess when in the process would you bring up, bring this in of like, hey, you guys should look into the clue report? Like, what part of the transaction would you recommend talking about this, I guess? Does that make sense?
Yeah, honestly, I think the sooner the better, because you've got that typically a 10-day window for inspections,
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. But I believe, there are a lot of people that really don't start the insurance process until halfway through or midway through a transaction. And, all the buyers I've ever worked with, and it's right inside the sales agreement, I talked about, you guys want to make sure that you understand your insurance coverage, how much it's going to cost you, so that you're not, breaking the bank here or anything of that nature, and do that in the first couple of days. Talk to your insurance person. Oh, by the way, we've got Pat Killeen with Equity Group Insurance, who I can refer you to if you would like a different quote. Most people have their own insurance, whether it be, for the cars or whatnot, that they typically go to. But I certainly think it's a great idea to make sure that they are aware that you have somebody on your team you can point them to help, because not every insurance person's the same. But yeah, I would do it sooner than later.
I have a question as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, my office mate is like, oh, what's your question? I read during my education or my training that the clue report, the seller of the home has to consent to that. Is that true? Like, you have to get their approval before pulling the clue report?
No, that's not true.
Okay, cool.
I can do it for the buyer, your buyer.
Okay. So they won't even necessarily know, the seller of the home, that the clue report is being run.
No, ma'am, not at all.
Marvelous. Great.
So I think that came too from even before I was in the industry, because really up until 3 or 4 years ago, the clue report was not even talked about for probably a good 8 to 10 years. And before I even got in the industry 13 years ago, from what I understand, in many sales agreements, they would ask for the clue report to be given to the buyers. And I think that's probably back in the day. Maybe, Pat, you can answer this. I don't know if it was a paid for thing back in the day, or like a paid inspection, that maybe they did that so the sellers were paying for it, since it's really their house right now anyway. But I do know that in the past, a lot of sales agreements used to say, seller to provide clue report, in the transaction. So that could be it.
Yeah, that's kind of hard if a seller's selling. I'm not sure how it happened, to answer your question, Kyle, way back when, but it's kind of hard to, if a seller's selling, why would they do a new insurance quote on their existing home and pull a clue report? Or it may have happened that they had to pay for it. I'm not sure that process in the past. Can you pay for it on your own? But it takes about 30 days to 45 days, in some cases 60 days, to get a report back from the company that actually executes those clue reports. And it's called LexisNexis out of Atlanta, Georgia. You have to provide 3 pieces of ID and fill out a form and send it in, and maybe it'll come back within 45 days if you're lucky. But if you talk to any agent, they can run the home insurance quote for that property for the buyer and we can get it instantaneously, whether there's been any activity on that property for the past 5 years. So that's the good news. And I think overall it helps it can help protect you and protect your buyers. I think that's primarily why I like to do so many quotes for all our agents. Is in that regard, I'm just kind of like, the clue report doesn't always come up with any claims, but in case it does, I do notify the parties that especially the real estate agent with RE/MAX, I share that information with them if something comes back so that they can protect their buyer. So someone said earlier, we have each other's back, and that's kind of right, Kyle? That's kind of like a process that I'm always very sensitive to in terms of being sure that I share that information with our team. Also, someone said that, when it comes to home buying insurance, home insurance, it's always good to get a second opinion. If someone already, like Kyle mentioned, you might have your own insurance company, auto insurance, and then you go to them for your home insurance. If you're buying a house, it's always good to get a second opinion with Equity Group Insurance with us. And ideally, if someone comes from out of state, let's say they're moving from California, or Idaho or Nevada or wherever it is, they need a new contact person for their insurance if they're moving into the state. Because in terms of new auto insurance, they have to switch over within 30 to 45 days. But we usually do the home quote for people that are moving in new to the state of Oregon or Washington. That's a great introduction for us to build a relationship with your new buyers. And boy, I look for opportunities just to talk about anything with the new buyers and just make them feel a little bit more comfortable, because I know when you refer them to me that they're new to the state and they don't know anything. So this last month, I had people that were moving from California down in they were moving from San Diego up here into the little town of Willamette near West Lynn. And I discovered in the conversation, and it was a short conversation. I don't go into long conversations with new home buyers that are moving from another state. It was a short conversation, but I found out why they're moving here, because they're moving closer to their son who has a new family, and they don't want to miss that time with the grandkids. And I realized that their son lives in Lake Oswego, but they're moving just outside into the Willamette area. And I had received something in the mail most recently, and I said to them, I said, well, I just got this Chamber of Commerce little deal that shows all the businesses in Lake Oswego. How about if I mail it to you? So I just decided to give up my Chamber of Commerce business directory, let's say, and mailed it to these people in San Diego to further enhance the building of a relationship, to make our RE/MAX agents look good, and also to provide a value to new people that are moving into the state. So I don't do that kind of stuff all the time, but I look for opportunities to give and to share resources when new people are moving into the state and they're your buyers. That really makes a big difference. Wouldn't you say, Kyle?
Oh yeah. No, and I think that's always great. Your team should be an advocate for you as well. And every time somebody that you refer does something like that, it makes you look just as good, and that's a huge plus. So good job.
Yeah. Any questions about the clue report? Because we were going to just kind of jump on some of these other topics, but we don't want to go too fast. If there's something that you have a question about before we move forward.
All right. So besides home insurance, Pat, you certainly can help people with a few other things, right?
Yeah. One of the other things is at the bottom, you still have that slide up, I can see, the business general liability policy. Can we get any comments from Yeah, why you should have business coverage. Does anybody, first of all, know what the general liability business coverage for you as an agent, RE/MAX agent, does for you, or why you might need it? Why it's part of your independent contractors agreement, right, Kyle?
To have it,
Yeah.
we encourage it. We can't force anybody to do it. So,
Right. Right.
and I will say, so a lot of times people ask about insurance as a realtor, right? And as a member of RE/MAX Equity Group, you guys have your what we call E&O insurance, errors and omissions insurance covered for you, right? So no worries there. And that's basically, I always call it realtor malpractice. Back in the doctor area, if they keep a knife in you after they do surgery, that would be malpractice, right? And it would be a malpractice suit. Same type of thing with the insurance. However, there's a whole different side, and it's business coverage, business liability. Pat came to my office, I don't know, it's probably about a year or so ago, in one of our sales meetings. And, the majority of the agents in my office have been doing this a long time. They're certainly, they've good, strong, productive folks. And Pat said, how many of you, and we had probably 25 people in the room, how many of you have business coverage? One person put their hand up, that entire thing. I think after Pat had talked, there were at least 3 or 4 that reached out to him and said, can we get the ball rolling? Because it's important to think about it. What happens if, right? And Pat will quickly kind of talk about a couple of different things. And Pat, let me know when you want me to put the other slides up, because I can do that.
Yeah, let's just hold off on that because those are a little bit hard to read, but we can show you go ahead and put the first page up, Kyle. Yeah, so what we do is a general liability coverage for you as you conduct your business activities with RE/MAX. General liability protects you in 2 ways, with bodily injury and property damage issues. So you say, well, I'm never going to run into that. Well, several of our insurance agents out in our partner group in Colorado have run into issues. Let me just give you a description. First of all, Kyle mentioned the errors and omissions insurance that you carry as an agent is contractually that's going to cover you for contract issues. But what we're talking about here is a general liability for you to protect your activities as you conduct your business with transactions, et cetera, with your buyers and sellers. So errors and omissions is not what we're talking about here. This is completely different. Also, your personal umbrella for under your home or auto does not cover you for issues that relate to your activities in business. So let's just say, for example, there's property damage or bodily injury that happens while you're conducting business as an agent with RE/MAX. Some of the examples under general liability are, we had a situation out in Colorado that an agent opened the front door because they were about ready to show the house, and a dog ran out and ran into the street in Colorado and got hit. And our Colorado office, Jeremy McCallum, told us that claim was $12,000. And it was something that the agent had coverage for in terms of their general liability, property damage, bodily injury type issues. Another situation was an open house. There was an elderly lady, 70 plus years old, slipped down some stairs. Jeremy told me yesterday that particular situation, he doesn't know if it's been resolved yet or not, but the medical cost to cover that situation for the elderly lady was in excess of $80,000 because of medical issues. So your general liability policy could cover you for, again, bodily injury, property damage. Another property damage example would be a out in one of our Colorado offices, someone opened a flue for the fireplace, and it damaged the couch, and it also damaged the new carpet. So that claim was about $8,000 to repair all or replace all of that. So there are situations where having coverage could protect you. This past year, we had in our Gresham office. Kyle, do you remember that scenario a little bit? You want to share? You want to share about that? We have coverage that will protect what Kyle's going to share right now.
Yeah, so I mean, long story short, out in Gresham, it was the beginning of this year. There was a break-in at the office, and unfortunately, the folks came in and targeted a couple specific offices, grabbed a laptop and a few other items. That's actually why I ended up calling Pat. I'm like, can you come out and talk to my folks? Because as much as I'd love to tell you any insurance that we carry as a company, it covers company stuff. It doesn't cover your stuff. Because of the independent contractor piece. So this is one of those situations where if you had that coverage, that would help you, right, Pat?
Exactly. So the policy would cover you, again, for business personal property that was in your automobile or that's in your office. And in that particular case that Kyle was just mentioning, I think that laptop was it in their automobile, Kyle, or was it?
No, that was in the office. And good news is they ended up finding the laptop and the people that stole it. I don't know, within a few days. So, and that was all because location was on their laptop. So,
yeah,
that's
good. But the agent didn't have insurance, so this is just top of mind type stuff in terms of your activity as an agent. It will protect you for, again, bodily injury issues and property damage. And again, let me just reiterate that your errors and omissions insurance coverage with RE/MAX that you have is not part of this type of coverage. Also, your personal home umbrella or auto umbrella is not associated with this coverage. It's completely different. So this front page that Kyle has up on the screen is a front page cover of the type of quote that we can do for you. If you need it or if you want it, we can send it to you. But this type of policy per year runs in the $500 a year average range. So in terms of the coverages, which you're going to receive, you're just protecting yourself for any accidents or things that might happen in your course of business activities. So I don't know. I think that's pretty much all I need to say about that, unless anyone has questions about something about that. What do you think, Kyle?
No, I think that's good. I think honestly, at the end of the day, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here is, there's, again, part of the team that you have is Pat here with the insurance piece. And my biggest suggestion to all of you is to have a chat with Pat, a one-on-one, whether it be over the phone or in person or whatever it might be via Zoom, and just kind of explore all your options for your own stuff, let alone your business insurance, as well as just to start getting to know and building that relationship. Because, when you need part of that team to be there, you're going to need them to be there. And if you already have that relationship, it's going to make it a lot easier to be able to have Pat help you out. But I think the big thing is just trying to find out, what pieces of it. And this isn't a sales pitch to you guys. It really is, a matter of Pat's part of your team. He should be in your pocket to be able to pull out, like we've heard a couple of you guys working with your clients already on their properties, or again on the business insurance side. And again, I don't remember, Pat, if you remember how many people, but there were at least 2, 3, maybe 4 agents that reached out to you quickly in my office when they heard about the business insurance, said, holy crud, this is something I should have as a just in case. And every time I think about it, I think about that poor dog, because it really, listings are as good as the listing agent. And that particular listing, it said nothing about a dog being at the house. And surprise, surprise, what happens if, And I think it's best to make sure you guys stay covered as a just in case, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there.
Any questions about that?
Anybody have any questions for Pat on insurance with homes or business insurance? Or Maria, were you putting your hand up or not? Okay, I saw a movement.
Is there a deductible that the agents would pay though on that, Pat? On that business insurance?
Yes, on property damages is a $250 deductible, but no deductible on the liability part.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and 250 is a steal because most of those items are going to be a lot more. 80K for that woman that went down the stairs. And here's the thing, a lot of times, just as an FYI, guys, if you're talking to people in your office, a lot of times and stuff like that, they're going to say, well, that would go under the seller's homeowner insurance because it's their house. If there's ever an issue, if there's ever especially a lawsuit or and the insurance companies get involved, everybody under the sun that was even remotely near that home that day is going to get pegged. It's just the way these companies work. And, you know, you want to be able to have as much help behind you as you can. You know, these are the types of things that I think can rock your world if you don't have the insurance behind you. It can get scary.
Yes, it can.
Yeah. Awesome. All righty. Well, thank you, Pat. I appreciate everything today. And again, you're doing a great job and we appreciate you. So, you know, I'll leave you guys with just kind of the action step for today, which really is number one, start writing out your team, you know, and if you realize somebody's on your team that we haven't discussed here today, shoot it to me, because honestly, I'm learning every time we do this. There's at least one or two things somebody says that I was like, oh, that is part of my team. You just don't realize it. And I think it's good to have wide eyes open. And then number two, know that Pat will be reaching out to everybody in the next few weeks. And if you want to be proactive, reach out to him too. But the idea is just to start a relationship and start to get to know him a little bit, doing a one-on-one and knowing him so that you can utilize him when needed. And Pat's a really good advocate for you too. So, all right, any other parting words, Pat?
No, that's it. Just remember those out-of-state buyers when they come to Oregon from any other state. It's a great way to introduce those new buyers to your team. And they're looking for resources instead of a directory from the Chamber of Commerce, right? They're looking at it. They're looking for you to help them with those connections.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much again, Pat. And thank you all for being here. For everybody in business school, I will see you all at 1 o'clock and we'll continue the discussion on teams and talk about escrow. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.